I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked one bit. I'm not shocked that Mr. Richie Lou Dennis, owner of Essence and Essence Fest, I'm not shocked that he owes hundreds of thousands of dollars since last year's Essence Fest. The Essence Fest last year, that was a flop. I'm not shocked one bit. First off, I want to give a big shout out to my brother, the main Darian, because he brought this to my attention. Yeah. Y'all remember last year's Essence Fest was a flop, right? And a lot of Black American people who went to Essence Fest last year, was it last year or the year before? My people was upset. They said the vibe was off. They were like, why is Jollof Rice in the building? This is a Black American festival. What is going on? The venues were empty. A lot of the food vendors who have been at every Essence Fest for decades were uninvited. Remember last year? Let me show you a snippet. Last year I did a video and broke down the things that were happening with Essence Fest. And I told y'all why the vibe felt off and what Mr. Richie Lou Dennis was doing, right? He was joining forces with government organizations over in Nigeria, and they were going to use Essence Fest to make Nigeria the focal point, not Black American culture. Here's a little snippet from that video. There wasn't very much Black American in the biggest Black American festival of the year, every year. I've seen videos where at the concerts are usually packed every night, packed out. Empty this year. There were people there, but nothing like it was in the past. One of the major complaints that I've seen on my timelines is the vibe was off. It felt different. The air was different. Well, grab yourself a cup of coffee. I came across a picture post over on TikTok, and that led me down a rabbit hole. Get your coffee. Let's go for a walk, shall we? I'm going to call him Mr. Dennis because I don't want to butcher his name. Y'all know I got a Southern American tongue. Yeah, so I'm going to call him Mr. Dennis. This is Mr. Dennis. He is the owner of Sundial Products and Shea Moisture. I remember him from when he purchased Shea Moisture. He now owns Essence Ventures. What falls under Essence Ventures? Essence Magazine. Mr. Dennis is not Black American. I believe he comes from Lagos, Nigeria. So he's Nigerian. If I'm incorrect, feel free to correct me down in the comment section. Respectfully. I don't deal with disrespect over here. I block. This is the CEO of Essence. Her name is Caroline Wanga. And baby, she is a whole mood. Looking her up over on the Google, baby, she is walking art. Every outfit, the hair is together, the specs are on point, the outfit is bold, loud, beautiful. Love it. She is the CEO of Essence. Okay? She's not Black American. She's from Kenya. Okay? So the top owner is from Nigeria. The CEO is from Kenya, Africa. Okay? I went on over to Essence Ventures because in my research I saw that Mr. Dennis owns Essence Ventures. Okay? And so I went on over to Essence Ventures, and right on the home screen, they provide all of their targeting right there on the home screen, right? And you see that little white arrow down on the right of your screen where it says access to $1.4 trillion in buying power, in AA buying power? That's our money, Black Americans. Yeah, Black Americans in the United States have a $1.4 trillion spending power. And it's probably higher than that. Let me take a quick look. $1.4 trillion spending power. This was written back in 2023, but in the article, the very first paragraph says, in recent years, the buying power of the Black community has risen significantly. According to a 2020 report via CNBC, Black buying power was $1.4 trillion in 2019 and is projected to grow to $1.8 trillion by 2024. So in 2025, it is estimated that the buying power, the spending power of Black Americans in the United States is $1.8 trillion. And so Mr. Dennis is counting in his portfolio access to the 1.8 buying power that Black Americans have. Okay? He wants access to our money. That was my first thought. He wants access to our money. But why are my people complaining about the vibe being off at Essence? Why are my people, Black Americans, upset about this Jollof and Jambalaya versus contest? Why did it have to be a versus contest? Why are my people complaining about not feeling African American vibes at an African American festival that they have been going to for decades? Well, Mr. Dennis has a plan. Mr. Dennis and the folks over in Nigeria, over in Africa, they've got a plan. And unfortunately, Black Americans are not a part of the plan. Y'all could go over on YouTube. I will link over in YouTube the video so you guys can watch the entire video. That video went viral on YouTube last year, and it went viral over on TikTok. Me breaking it down why the vibe was off over at Essence Fest. And the Africans were responding to Black Americans who were complaining about the vibe being off, and were saying, well, why didn't any of their Black American celebrities buy Essence, right? That was their response to it, right? They were digging that little knife into the confusion and disappointment of African Americans, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. They were digging that knife into our confusion as to why the vibe was off at one of our staple festivals that celebrate Black history, Black culture, Black history. Why didn't one of your Black American celebrities buy it? Okay, well, shout out to Darren, like I said, because Darren, 1 year later, this is what's happening with Essence Fest. This is the article that I'll be reading from. I think it's NOLA.com, NOLA.com. You can Google the title and it'll bring up the article. The Essence Festival of Culture owes the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center more than $400,000 from last year's event and is past due on paying at least one other major contractor, alarming some local officials and complicating efforts to secure crucial state funding for the 2026 festival in July. The convention center said that New York-based Sundown Media Group, I believe Sundown Media Group, is also owned by Mr. Richie Lou Dennis. The convention center said that New York-based Sundown Media Group, which purchased Essence in 2018, had an outstanding balance of $456,000 as of Tuesday, representing more than 60% of its charges for hosting 3 days of panels, workshops, and other events from July 4th to 6th last year. The convention center, which shared the information in response to a public records request, requires that balances be settled within 30 days of an event. So I want all of my African brothers and sisters, because after I did my video last year, a whole bunch of people did their own digging and own follow-up videos, putting Mr. Richie Lou Dennis out there as a scammer. As a scammer. He's done some scammy shit financially in the past. And yeah, Black Americans have some concerns. And now we understand why. We understand that those concerns were very valid. So my Black American, not my Black Americans, my African brothers and sisters, please explain to me why y'all was defending Mr. Richie Lou Dennis and y'all was poking the knife into Black Americans last year. Please explain to us why Mr. Richie Lou Dennis has not paid the bill from last year. The convention center said it received $50,000 payment from Essence, bringing the outstanding balance down to $406,000. Essence also owes a local production company more than $1 million, according to a source familiar with the situation, who asked not to be named to avoid upsetting business relationships in New Orleans. The delay in payments is the latest issue to crop up for Essence, which brings tens of thousands of people and estimated hundreds of millions of dollars in economic impact to New Orleans each year. In 2025, it faced complaints from some attendees over aspects of the shows in the Caesars Superdome. Essence officials are also preparing, like in earlier years, to ask the state legislature for funding for the 2026 festival. However, the vendor payments issue could make securing state money more difficult, according to State Rep, I believe that's Jacob McFarland, a Republican from Jonesboro, the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee. He said Essence officials will have to come to Baton Rouge to explain the delayed payments if they want to secure more funds. Quote, any event that doesn't pay its bills after we give it funding, that's a problem. I don't care which event it is. That doesn't matter. End quote. In a prepared statement, Essence officials said the city of New Orleans and Essence Fest are extremely dear to each other as partners, adding that last year's event generated an estimated $46.2 million in tax revenue. And then it goes into the statement. So will there be an Essence Fest this year? According to the article, they owe $406,000 to the convention center. Why hasn't that money been paid? It owes allegedly another $1 million to a production company. Why hasn't that been paid?
Hello everyone, I'm Nobu and welcome back to the channel. There's a lot of talk online right now about Essence Fest. Some people are saying the festival have lost its connection to Black American culture, and now they are claiming the event is struggling because of it. Essence Fest was once seen as a major celebration of Black culture, especially Black American music, businesses and community. For years, it brought people together for concepts, panels and big cultural moments. But lately, Wichisai says the vibes feel different. Some feel the event shifted from its original focus. Other points to ticket prices, organization issues, or changing entertainment trend as a reason. Attendance may not feel the same. Now, some Black Americans are saying they saw this coming. That when you move away from your cold audience and culture, the support starts to fade. If the same time others argue with festival natural info and changes don't automatically mean collapse.
Essence Festival may be canceled in 2026. At least it may not be in New Orleans, because the African dude that took over, Richie Dennis, he not paying people. He owe over $1.4 million. A portion of that to the Ernest Convention Center, he owed them over $400,000, and then the $1 million+ he owed to the vendors. He never paid the vendors. Now they run into the state legislature begging for money. They're begging for money from the state legislature. This is not alone. They begging the state to bail them out, and the state is like, hold up, you owe vendors over $1 million? This is a problem. We may not be able to help you out because you owe the vendors over $1 million, right? Now, he's not saying how the amount he owed the vendors, but he says it's not in the millions. Of course, he's going to try to downplay it, but how did you end up in this predicament? Why are you not an honest businessman? Why are you not paying those folks that you owe money? And they say they generated like hundreds of millions of dollars off the Essence Festival. What are you doing with the money, bro? But yeah, it may not be an Essence Festival in 2026, at least not in New Orleans. And they're releasing a statement Tuesday.
American Heritage at Essence Fest. So it's night 1 or night 2, and there is a lot of complaints coming through, and the common consensus is the culture has shifted. It no longer feels like us. And honestly, that makes sense because the people in charge now do not value Black heritage. Essence Fest used to be known as the Cookout. It was created in 1995, created to center Black American heritage, the music, fashion, beauty, political power. It was basically like the family reunion created by Black people for Black people. Soul food, a little gospel, a little trap, NOLA. It was a culture that you felt deep in your chest. But now, not so much. It feels somewhat curated, corporatized, and it no longer feels like it centers us. The current CEO of Essence is a former DEI executive for Target. So the very thing that Black Americans are protesting, she was the center of, and now she's the center, well, she's the head, the CEO of Essence. Upon more research, I found out that she is originally from Kenya, and she moved to the US when she was about 10 years old. The point of me bringing that up is she doesn't seem like she values Black American heritage, because if she did care, the festival will still reflect the very people it was built for. And seeing as though that's not the case, I can't help but think that she does not value Black American heritage. Instead, it's become a space that uplifts everyone else aside from Black American heritage. That shift is starting to feel really intentional. Local Black vendors are being pushed out. Local creators and influencers are overlooked completely, all while being the very representation that is needed for Black-centered heritage in the South. It doesn't make any sense to me. It has slowly become a place that has been curated for optics and not community. This very thing is exactly what I was talking about in my previous videos when I asked the question, where are the Black American beauty creators? The answer is, we're being pushed out of the very spaces created and centered for us. And not just pushed out of these spaces like Essence Fest, but panels, brand deals, sponsorships, media. And all of this didn't happen by accident. It has happened through leadership, branding pivots, and sponsorship deals that prioritize global Blackness. Global Blackness, a movement that often leaves out the specific culture and heritage of Black Americans. And when brands talk about inclusion but sideline the very creators who made the culture, we should all be asking, if Essence no longer feels like us, who is it for?
Show y'all, Essence is now owned by a Nigerian man who also owns Shea Moisture. And the CEO or the COO is a woman from Kenya. And they're centering Nigeria. So pretty much, this is what's been happening in this country since we've fought for civil rights. They've come here off of the foundation that Black Americans already built, and they stepped on the shoulders of it to uplift themselves and their communities in particular and specifically. Because a lot of people was mad, like, where were the Black American content creators at Essence Fest? Where were the Black American vendors? It was overshadowed and overpowered by people from the diaspora, specifically Africa. Let's just call a spade a spade. And there's nothing wrong with that. My whole thing and everyone's whole thing is, why not start your own festival instead of coming in on something that was already built and already had a foundation from Black Americans to co-opt it, take it over, and now turn it into and destiny swap it out with African culture. Imagine us going over to Africa and one of us purchasing a festival out there, writing up an article talking about the spending power that's in Africa, which literally is based off of the money that the Africans are spending, and then censoring it and saying, yeah, we're bringing everybody together, but the focal point is Black Americans from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And we're in Africa somewhere. Y'all seen how the Africans in South Africa was going crazy because a parade, one parade was called the Zulu Parade, that was called the Zulu Parade for 100 years. They felt some type of way because of that. Could you imagine how they would feel if we came over and literally took over one of their whole festivals, the biggest festival that's making $500,000 a day? censoring ourselves, doing competitions called Jollof versus Jambalaya. It's just the math don't math with y'all because you all are willfully ignorant and it's intentional when it comes to Black American culture. Y'all, we are not going to sit back and just allow for the erasure to happen without saying anything. Y'all are used to us just never saying shit, and everybody comes in off of the foundation that we've built. And this is not to say that we can't work together. We've always wanted to, but it was the other folks that were saying, no, you're not one of us. No, I'm not hiring you. No, I'm not representing you. No, I'm not promoting you. I'm going to co-opt you. I'm going to emulate you, but I'm also going to tell you that you don't have no culture. There was also an African woman in a video saying, oh, the only culture, the soul, Africans. And it's like, bitch, you at the Essence Festival talking that hot money cash shit like Black Americans didn't build that. It's that part for me. I don't know. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. I haven't spoke about this, but I saw her video and it inspired me to like stitch her video because I was like, yo, she on point. The more you know. And this ain't no love lost. I don't need nobody saying y'all xenophobic. Shut the fuck up with that.
I don't mess with Diaspora Wars because I love Black people. I love all Black people. And I love Black cultures. But let's be like for real. People really in the diaspora was really shitting on Black Americans. For whatever reason, they tried to say we didn't have culture. They've been saying it for years. The anti-Blackness when it came to Black Americans was high. I saw it. I just didn't comment on it because I don't want to participate in diaspora wars. But I didn't know that they were really taking that seriously. I didn't know that they believed it. I thought they were just trolling Black people. But Essence Fest really showed them that we do have culture, didn't it? Because we didn't show up. And the fact that you took a festival that has traditionally been known as Black American culture, you cannot deny it. I guess you tried. You tried it because that's Black American culture through and through. It was even in the movie Girls Trip. What did y'all think that was? And now you're going to try to do Essence Fest. That's why there wasn't nobody there. Talk about some, what was it? Jollof rice competition? Are you serious? Like, are we being for real right now? I'm just happy that in this moment, people are really starting to wake up to the reality that is Black American culture. Between Black Americans sticking together and not going out and fighting ICE, and Black Americans not showing up for SFS when our culture isn't represented. Y'all finding out, ain't you? I'm serious. This, and I'm glad that you are finding out. Because let's just put this to bed. Let's put it to rest that Black Americans don't have culture. Because now you're finding out. When we don't show up, all of a sudden, it's where the Black Americans. I thought we didn't have culture. Why are you worried about us? And this is my thing. Y'all never apologize. You just expect us to come. You think we forgot about the things you said about us? I don't understand why people don't come back to us, Latinos included, and say, you know what? There is anti-Blackness. We were talking about you. And you know what? Now we recognize the error of our ways. We're sorry and we need your help. No, you don't do that. You just expect us to do it. And then when we don't do it, you say we're next. Okay, let's find out.
What I don't like about the whole Essence Festival conversation is that it's becoming very xenophobic, but nobody's providing any good solutions. And I actually feel like the issue isn't that there are African people or Afro-Caribbean people who are a part of this, because there have always been, whether you like it or not. The issue is that a lot of them are not willing to feed in and help enrich the Black American community, which a lot of them do take part in. There is a big change happening in the Black community in the US, and I feel like everybody knows what's going on, but no one wants to talk about it. And it's the fact that the Black community in the US is becoming incredibly diverse, and nobody's talking about how we can fix these issues of, you know, the inter-community fighting instead of making it bigger. I'm seeing so many Black Americans attack African people and Afro-Caribbean people right now, and I'm like, do y'all not want better for the future of this community? I do believe that there needs to be sacred spaces for African Americans, or places where African Americans are celebrated but other people can come and enjoy. So I'm not mad at the idea of African Americans wanting that, but I do think it's incredibly weird to be just so blatantly xenophobic. I don't have an issue with Black African people or Black Caribbean people going to Essence Festival or even participating. I mean, a decade ago, y'all were talking about Essence Festival and it was still like what ran by an African person. It's just that a lot of these people are becoming very anti-African American, and I feel like we need to talk about them without being super xenophobic, you know, because being xenophobic isn't going to help us anymore, you know. I'm going to be so for right now. I feel like I've seen so many African American people give borderline conservative in regards to African people and Caribbean people right now. Like, y'all are being so divisive. It's getting really weird.
I knew people were going to fold when it came to this Target boycott. I didn't know people were going to be smug about it. Like, I knew people would continue their day-to-day if they shopped at Target and was just going to continue to do what they do. But I recently saw a post from a content creator that's going to Essence Fest, a Black creator, that said, yeah, I'm going through Essence Fest through Target, and actually invited their audience to come see them at Target's activation. While the people who are spearheading the Target boycott have told people, hey, if you're going to Essence Fest, because we know that they're a major sponsor for the festival, please avoid the Target booth at all costs. I looked through the comments because I just wanted to see where we are as a society and get an idea of what people thought about it. And the response was really like, well, I'm not going to be miserable for the next 4 years. And I saw one of their followers commented and said, yeah, at least they're paying you and you're not paying them. And this is where a lot of folks have it messed up. Because while that creator may be getting paid by Target, they are being paid to entice you to go to Target. They are paid to make you think that they care because they use someone who looks like you. They are paid to entice you to forget all the strides that these Black men and women have been doing for the past couple of months in one of the biggest corporate boycotts, by demanding that a corporate entity that Black folks have put billions of dollars in stand firm behind the Black community and actually say it with their chest. Not rename their DEI and not use the Black folks that are in their influencer marketing to pull in Black creators to evade the responsibility on standing firm.
So is the SS Feast really falling apart, or it is just going through a transition? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoy real conversation like this, make sure you like, comment and subscribe to the Noble Empire, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.